Good evening, everyone. Happy Friday to you. I'm David Robinson, the Democratic candidate for Congressional District 2 out of South Carolina. I'm here this evening. I will be here every Friday at 8:30 p.m. for your representative podcast. And I want to make sure that everyone who is in my district, who are voting in November, in November the 5th, that I can earn your vote first of all, and that you can learn a lot more about who I am as a candidate, as well as I can learn more about what you would like to see in your representative, because I think that's the most important thing when it comes to representing others. So again, I want to start off. I'm Dave Robinson, been born and raised here in South Carolina. I've been here all my life. I've been raised by a single parent in a single parent home. However, I even myself became a single parent, raised my children, had to give up career, in engineering, computer engineering at the time, to become a single parent. I decided to open up a business of my own in trucking. I have driven trucks, and when 9/11 happened, our country has been attacked. I gave up that business to join the U.S. Army, where I served this country to defend our democracy, our way of life, and protect our Constitution. It's everything that means a lot to me as of today. Also, I had to give up my career in the military because of injury I sustained in Afghanistan. However, at the same time, I was able to utilize those skills when I had to go out into the desert to search for my son. Many of you may know me as David Robinson, the father of geologist Daniel Cornelius Robinson, the American scientist that went missing out in Arizona. So, again, because of sometimes with tragedy, God have a way to bring out of tragedy great things. But I want to talk about some of the key issues that I have, my platform have, some of the key issues that affects us as South Carolinians as well as the nation. We want to make sure I'm defending our democracy. Again, being a veteran, that is very key to me. It's very important. It's something that like I say, I hold dear. I raised my right hand to serve this country, and it's something that I even spoke to some veterans the other day, and they feel the same way. It is not something that we do at the time when we join the military, time of war, and then it stops when we retire out of the military services. It keeps going. It's something that we carry for the rest of our life. We are ready and willing to serve again, whether it's, and like I said, what happened for me, it wouldn't be in Afghanistan, but to serve the country in the U.S. Army or U.S. Army or any of the armed forces. But also, like what I'm doing now, running for Congress, it is serving the people. So again, maintain our democracy. Make sure we're defending our systems of government. Make sure we're protecting ourselves against what we see is coming up. Like for instance, right now, Project 2025 that's want to change the very fabric of this country, want to change the dynamics of our Constitution. So it's our job to make sure that we're safeguarding and protecting our Constitution from foreign and domestic enemies. So that's something you raise your right hand for, and that's something you always will have to do for the rest of your life. Also, supporting our veterans. I'm a veteran myself. Want to make sure that we are protecting our veterans who serve this country, like myself. And we have needs. We have healthcare needs. We have a lot of homeless out there, homeless veterans. We need homes and things like that. So we want to make sure we're doing everything to defend our veterans. Also, representing Missing Americas. This is one of the key issues that means a lot to me personally. Again, I have a missing son that went missing out in Arizona, geologist Daniel Robinson. You can Google that, geologist Daniel Robinson. And just to give you a short story of that, working hard for 3 years to search for my son, I gained a passion to help other families. I was able to bring closures for other families who didn't know where their loved one were. Bring closures also to help bring awareness of the missing American crisis. We have over 600,000 Americans that go missing every year in this country. Many of us don't know about. 3,000 a day. Over almost 2,000 of those are children. And this is a crisis that is a silent crisis that's happening in this country. Also, the fact that 40% of all missing cases are people of color, though we make 13% of the population. Those are staggering numbers, and we have to make sure we're bringing awareness, and that's where I step in at. I have worked with senators out in Arizona, trying to find ways to get data, like for instance, in my son's case. And my key issue, it was at the time that caused me to run for Congress. is the fact that we need to get those data for families and law enforcement to easily find our missing loved ones in real time. We can't wait 48 hours. 48 hours is something that you cannot wait on when it comes to finding loved ones. And also, part of defending our democracy is defending our women's rights in this country. Reproductive rights is American rights. Women's right is American rights. So we want to make sure we're protecting and safeguarding our women's right, protecting their healthcare decisions, make sure that we have available healthcare resources for victims of rape and incest, as well as laws established and maintaining women's reproductive rights, and make sure we're eliminating the efforts of states who try to control women's reproductive rights. So again, we want to make sure we're defending our democracy by defending all American rights. Also, we want to make sure we're providing quality education for our students. You know, one of the biggest things, especially here in South Carolina, we have low test scores. Though we receive over $800 million of federal aid for education, those monies not being allocated in the right place, and the resources and programs that could be utilized to make sure that we're keeping up with the ever changing market. You know, so when it comes to AI and technologies and things like that, keeping up, being very competitive in the world stage. So we'll make sure South Carolinians, our children, are having the best health education, as well as the fact that when they get to college, that they can go to college without accruing debt they cannot pay back. And so again, we want to support our teachers along with that. It's very important. We have the Pay the Teachers Act. We need to actually pay our teachers and make sure that money is going to teachers are receiving those resources. So I'll be talking about a lot of those things tonight. And I'm just giving you a brush over what my campaign stands for, some of the things, and we just continue on to push past those and also talk about some of the issues. Hopefully I can see some comments in the comment section. I want to say this up front. Those who are listening to me, your constituent here in South Carolina, and you have questions, you have comments and things like that. If you're on the Instagram, if you're on the Facebook or the Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube, I can put your comments and things on the screen. I will also be able to answer some of those. Even if you're on Instagram, I can see those, but I won't be able to put you on the screen. But my efforts is to do this every Friday at 8:30. So I'm getting prepared. I'm planning to win. I'm planning to win in November, and I want to make sure we're keeping a dialogue with everyone in my district. Because one thing again about my platform, I don't believe in leaving anyone behind. That is something that we learned in the military. We was out in war zone. We do not leave an American soldier behind. We do not leave each other behind. No one get left behind. And also that is true in every aspect of our country. We're in our state, no community in our district should be left behind. Because I'm telling you, I've been living in Congressional District 2 as an adult. I've been living in Congressional District 6 as a child. And I can tell you, when I was in Congressional District 2, I have seen communities in the same district not doing so well. You can look on one side of the district and you'll see a community doing well, and the other side of that same district, a community is not doing so well. It's the same is true about the school systems that's in these districts. So nobody should be left behind. And that's where I step in as well, is to make sure after all these years, we finally have the help that's finally come, where someone will stand up for South Carolinians and make sure that we're doing everything we can to make sure we have equality in every aspect of our district. So again, affordable health care, like I said, education is, like I said, for our students, to make sure that, again, want to make sure we're not causing children we want to incentivize our students to go to college and learn, not to make them wonder and say, hey, look, second guess their dreams and aspirations. That actually will help the country, just because they're afraid and they know they will accrue a debt that they may not be able to pay for many years, with all the interest and things that's being accrued on those payments and things like that. We want to make sure we're not setting up our children for failure. Also, we want to continue to lower our prescription costs, support the bring it down of the insulin cost to $35 for those who are on Medicare. We want to make sure that we're bringing it to every American, and also all the other prescription drugs and healthcare, to bring those costs down, because when we have a healthy economy, the economy will do well. So again, and that's part of safeguarding our infrastructure as well, taking care of our infrastructure. But I would come back again on the other side. I want to go a brief break here, and I would jump back on the other side, and we'll continue on talking about the platform. So thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Please hang in there. Okay, Dave Robinson here again, back again for those who just joining in or those who are watching the recording of this. I'm David Robinson, the Democratic candidate for Congressional District 2 out of South Carolina. I started this podcast to speak to the constituents, to speak to everyone who are supporting, and as well as those who want to know about who I am and what my platform is and how I intend to help you. So again, I would love to hear everything you have to say, your comments, your questions, your suggestions, everything. So this platform is for you. It's for the constituents. It's something I plan to continue to do even far after I win this in November. To have a way that our constituents can reach out to their representative. It's not just alone, of course, the phone calls and things like that, of course. But what I'm saying is something that we definitely can engage in. So, of course, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate everyone who has joined in and watching this podcast. I'm not going to stay long. I would like to, again, let you know that you have the ability to leave comments that I will be able to see on my screen. But the ones that is on the Facebook, the Twitter, and also the YouTube channels, I will be able to post those up on the screens for everyone to see. But thank you again for being here. I just want to jump in straight into my flyers here. I want everyone to know, first of all, go to davidrobsforcongress.com. You can get on there to join the campaign. I would love to have you a part of the campaign. We need all the help we can. Also, to support and donate to the campaign. The campaign need donations for us to be competitive. We're in October. Here it is, September now, in a day or so. September, and it's down to 69 days where we'll be going up to the polls. And I want to make sure that I'm very ready and want to make sure that we are able to put out those ads and things like that. So to make sure that we can let everyone know that David Robinson is running for Congress. David Robinson is another option. We don't have to do the same thing over and over and over again, expecting the different results. 20 years of the same old. It's okay, especially to anybody. I don't care if you're Republican, Independent, Democrat. We all are in this together at this moment to defend our democracy, defend our way of life. Like I said, against some of the things that are in place. We have a 180-day Project 2020 that is posing us to change our way of life, change our constitution. And so we want to make sure we're safeguarding and defend ourselves when it comes to that. And it's okay to make sure that we're doing what we can as American citizens, because we are that first before any party. We are American citizens born and raised here. And that's what, and some of us who have migrated here as well became citizens. We thank you so much for everyone that's joining in. All right, this is also, like I said, parts of my platform here, defending our democracy, protecting women's reproductive rights, providing quality education in every zip code. And that's very crucial because, like I said, again, It could be the same district, but not every zip code in a district, every community in a district are being represented the same. I will. This chance for everyone to see that you have a representative that will represent everyone, no matter where you come from. Also, lowering healthcare and prescription costs, safeguarding our infrastructure, very important, very important. Of course, really want to hear from you again. If you have comments, I'm looking at the comment section. You can put those, and I would like to talk about those. So again, I want to start off with something that's been really bothersome is seeing that we had seen this Project 2020, and we talked about that the other night. I had to do a NAACP form. Well, before that, I had to do a form down in Aiken, talking about Project 2025. But I did spoke a little moment briefly about it last night as well. Project 2025, also known as, let me put this up so everyone can hear, see a little clearer. Also known as the 2025 Presidential Transition Project, it is a political initiative published by the Heritage Foundation that aim to promote conservative and right-wing policies to reshape the United States federal government and consolidate executive power if Donald Trump wins the 2024 presidential election. Location, of course, Washington D.C. The budget is $22 million. Established April 2022, 2 years ago. The parent organization is the Heritage Foundation. So again, you see that Kevin Roberts is the president. Publication mandate for leadership and the conservative promise, 2023. So what I want to say is this is something is a 180-day playbook. Like most would say out there, if somebody created a playbook, they plan to use it, just like we do in sports. 180 days is not long. I think some people think, oh, this is a bit book, and they just trying to throw some little ideas out there that may be spanning over 10, 15, 20 years. No, there's something they plan to try to implement in 180 days. The Project 2025 website, you can go up there and look at it for yourself. And this is what it says on it. The time is short, and conservatives need a plan. The project will create a playbook of actions to be taken in the first 180 days of the new administration to bring quick relief to Americans suffering from the left's devastating policies. Also, it says number 2, gutting abortion access. 50 states a backdoor ban on abortion without Congress, and then having the ability to jail doctors. Think about that. Announcing a campaign to enforce the criminal prohibition in 18 U.S. Code 1461 and 1462. You can find it on page 562. Project 2025 will resurrect the law from the 1800s called the Comstock Act to ban abortion nationwide and jail healthcare providers, and that's on page 459. And what I'm saying, you guys, we are being severely and being purposely taken backwards, going backwards. Severely limiting abortion access nationwide, reversing the FDA's approval of mifepristone and drug used using the medication abortion, and reviving a 19th century law, the Comstock Act, to ban any abortion medication equipment or materials from being sent through the U.S. Postal Service. And if that's not controlled, I don't know what control would be. Gutting abortion access continue. The ban medication, which is used in many ways to protect women's health. Abortion pills pose a single greatest threat to unborn children. This is a quote from them. Unborn children in a post-Roe world. The FDA should reverse its approval of the chemical abortion drug. That's on page 457. 4 states to report women's miscarriages. And this part is really, really sick to me. Forcing states to report women's miscarriages and abortions to Trump's federal government. And what I'm saying is you have the federal government going into the doctor's office now, pulling your medical records, regardless of HIPAA laws and things like that, pulling your medical records to prosecute you as a woman. Project 2025 would be used to Project 2025 would use every available tool, including the cutting of funds to force states to report miscarriages and exactly how many abortions take place within its border, including for reasons for every abortion. It's page 455. I'm just going through this kind of quick, everyone. So I just want to get to this, but I have a lot of other things I want to talk about. Gutted abortion excess continue, eliminate contraceptives excess. The president should eliminate the week after appeal from the contraception ban as a potential abortion fit, abortifacients. And one thing I'm gonna say real quick too, this page 8485, I want to throw in something real quick too that I learned as well. Men's not scathed on that as well. They also want to ban contraceptives for men, contraceptive for men, to be able to get it from a healthcare provider. So that would drive up the cost of condoms and things like that. Allow employers to deny workers access to birth control coverages. That's on page 483 to 85. It also calls for the defunded Planned Parenthood, which provides access to contraceptives for over 2 million women each year. That's on page 471. Fire the government employees who are not Trump loyalists. Replacements. The quote from that website as well: the modern conservative president's task is to limit control and direct the executive branch. The great challenge confronting a conservative president is the existential need for aggressive use of vast powers of the executive branch. Success in meeting that challenge will require a rare combination of boldness and self-denial, boldness to bend or break the bureaucracy to the presidential, to the presidential, to the presidency. Also, cutting taxes for the rich. Uh, Again, here we go. Protect their profits, tax hikes, and on the middle class. Project 2025 would Project 2025 will restructure the tax code to benefit wealthy families. And you can find it on page 696. In prescription drug price caps. Now we just now have that, and a lot of people was really, really grateful for insulin, a life-saving drug that's cost Americans thousands of dollars each year just to survive. And we capped it at $35 for that medicine, and they want to take that away from millions of Americans. Repeal harmful health policies enacted under the Obama and Biden administration. That's including everybody, the Affordable Care Act, such as the Inflation Reduction Act. That's on page 465. This negotiation program should be repealed. Again, that is 465. Inequality in the workplace, support unfairness to employees, return to Trump's overtime rule, which means that 4 million middle class workers will lose overtime protection because of their salaries. It would make remote employees work 10 instead of 8 hours in a day before they can earn overtime. Prevent benefits from counting as part of workers' overtime calculations. Allow employees to calculate overtime over 4 weeks instead of one. That's page 587. And include this as well, everyone. It's not just that part of it. It's so much more when it comes to the we're not having let employees have the right to unionize. For one thing, it'll be another thing. So again, we have to look at all of that. That's exactly what you go into this project plan, and you can learn a whole lot of things what is being planned for your life. I don't in time somebody want to make a playbook. It is something they're planning to use. We cannot take it lightly. It's definitely something they plan to use. So again, I just wanted to kind of stress on that. There's so much more I could say that I learned about this project 2025 that I don't even have on here. You'd be very shocked how it will affect you in your life. One thing that stick out to me is these separations of power, as well as the checks and balances to give the executive branch more power than it should, to override the Congress. For instance, where I'll be working, don't even need Congress to unilaterally make things happen. That's we don't have kings in this country. You don't make sure that don't happen. Like again, I said, I raised my right hand to defend this Constitution from foreign and domestic enemies, and that's something we have to always consider. We have to make sure that we're protecting our Constitution, our way of life, everybody's freedoms in this country, freedom to live in this country the way this country was built and created. So again, thank you everybody for listening to that part of this. I want to talk about some other parts that I have been thinking about all day and preparing for this as well. Excuse me. And I want to back up first a little bit again for those who may just be joining in. David Robinson, Democratic candidate for Congressional District 2. And I'm here today to do the podcast, the representative podcast for you, the constituent, to be able to engage with me, to talk, to have a discussion, to answer questions, to give suggestions, you name it. That's what it's for. It's for you to have a dialogue between myself and you, a person who wants to represent you, to want to win your vote in November. And when I do so, to continue this dialogue for our constituents to be able to communicate. So again, thank you for being here. For those who are watching now and those who will be watching the recording, I want to talk back up a little bit again to talk about one point of that matters to me a lot too. My personal story of why I'm running. So, of course, my son, geologist Daniel Robinson, missing. Geologist Daniel Cornelius Robinson is missing, and you Google Daniel Robinson, he will come up. But what I want to say is some of the things that's very important is utilizing some of these things that is very simple. And I have some legislation that I want to get passed. I want to try to write some legislation that will help law enforcement to ease them to get some certain things that can help with families too, including families, giving families the power to get these things that they should have, in terms of finding out what happened to their loved ones through law enforcement. And so I have those plans and I have those things that I've been working on. That's what led me into run. But one thing that came to me, and it's from a friend of mine in Louisiana, told me about, it's just like we have this Amber Alerts and things like that, Amber Alert for children, the Silver Alert for adults. They also have a Clear Alert, and that's something that has been utilized, and some call it Ashanti Alert, but they utilize that in Texas. And only a few states carry that along with Texas. I think it's one or two outside of Texas, but we're trying to make sure there's something that's being implemented across the board, across the entire country. It's very useful. It's something that won't cost any state money. It's something that's just going to be put in. Just like, we already have a system for the Amber Alert. We already have a system for the Silver Alert. This is Clear Alert is that one piece of the puzzle that is missing, that is right there in the center. And this is the Clear Alert. The Clear Alert is, excuse me, alert coordinated by law enforcement. Adult Rescue is a public notification system used in some U.S. states to help locate missing adults who may be in danger. It is similar to Amber Alert and is used for children, but focuses on adults who do not meet the criteria of a Silver Alert, which is typically for elderly individuals with cognitive impairments. The Clear Alert is activated when the law enforcement determines that an adult, often between the ages of 18 and 65, is missing under suspicious or dangerous circumstances, such as being abducted, endangered, or having serious medical conditions. The goal is to quickly disseminate the information to the public through various channels, including media, electronic, billboards, and social media. It enlists the community's help in locating the missing person and ensuring their safety. And I want to pause right there for a second, because that's very touching for me, a father who's been working really hard for 3 years searching for my son out there in that desert. I always say I left the desert of Afghanistan and up in the snoring desert of Arizona, searching for my son. And, to know that when I drove before I drove that 2,000 miles to Arizona to search for my son, it would have been nice to have a Clear Alert in Arizona. Though law enforcement the first 2 initial days did not even see this severity of my son's disappearance, to have a Clear Alert in place where people will at least have eyes out there to look for something for an adult who's in the circumstances that my son was found in at the time, would have made a big difference. It would have made a world of a difference, I believe. And so we want to make sure that every family you have been able to have the ability to have that in their states. The criteria for using the Clear Alert can vary by state, but generally includes the following: the individual is missing under is unexplained and suspicious circumstances. The person is believed to be in immediate danger or threat of bodily injury or death. There is sufficient information available to distribute to the public that could assist in locating the person. The implementation and specific details of the Clear Alert can differ from state to state, as is managed by the state level. The Clear Alert coordinated law enforcement adult rescue system is currently operational in Texas, where it was first implemented in 2019. So again, like I said, I would like to see this Clear Alert in every state in this country. I'm really pushing for that. Like I said, a friend of mine in Louisiana is pushing that for Louisiana. I'm pushing it for South Carolina. Excuse me. And, hopefully we can get it going to every state. So, again, thank you for those who are just joining in. Dave Robson, Democratic candidate for Congressional District 2 out of South Carolina. We want to talk about tonight, give you the opportunity to speak up and talk, the opportunity to engage with me. But I'm also talking about what my platform is about, give you some idea of who I am as a person, what I believe and what I stand up for. I do see one comment, and I really appreciate that. Thank you so much, Faye. Say, I pray you find Daniel. Thank you so much. Yeah, God bless you for that. And I really need all the prayers. One thing for sure, I believe in prayers, and everybody knows who's been following me for over these 3 years on my son's podcast. Prayer changes things. I'm a big believer in prayer. I believe also in faith. Faith got me here, running for office. You have to put actions behind your faith. And when you say you want to do something, I want to help other Americans. I want to help find those 600,000 that go missing every year, almost 2,000 children, etc., to close that gap and find those disparities in why so many people of color go missing, the indigenous America as well. So just really, really means a big deal to me. But you can wish and hope all you want until you go step up and make that move. And I did by faith. By faith, also, I ran for office to stop the insanity. I have a representative in our state in my congressional district 2. I have never seen him a day in my life. I haven't seen him in my community. He don't represent my community that I grew up in. Even raising my children as an adult, I haven't seen this representative who's been there for well over 20 years. There's nothing to show for those well over 20 years of service that would reflect what has happened in my side of my neighborhood of the district, that affects us the most, and what's concerning to us and what's important to our district. Anytime you leave anyone behind in your district, it's like that chain. That chain is weak. It's as strong as the weakest link. So you have a weak community in your district, your whole district is weak. So you cannot be happy and pat yourself on the back, putting these commercials out. You're the best representative. I mean, trying to fool your constituents every year, every election year, that you should deserve another 2 years to do the same thing over and over again. You're very skilled at deceiving and deception for over 20 years and not giving anybody anything. So, years and time in office do not suggest, doing something great. So it suggests that you know how to keep your seat. So just want to make sure that everybody have opportunity to make a difference by knowing that you have another option, someone that really want to stand up for you, and that's what I'm here for tonight to talk about. Also, to go back to education, last night at NAACP down in Aiken, the person I'm running against, he did not show up. He did not show up in Lexington as well when we was invited. He didn't show up last night and invited again. He don't feel like he had to talk, in my opinion. Don't feel like he had to talk to those in my community, those who have interest in my community about what's happening in there. Like, for instance, what we're talking about tonight, in their educational, system. What's happening in our schools, what's happening to our students. How can we help our children? But you know what? Again, I'm here to do all of that, to change that dynamics, to make sure that we are standing up for our students and our people. So again, I want to talk about this some. It's something that I have put together, um, to address the concerns of the South Carolinians about our education system. From the federal side of things, the initiatives and actions, and also that could be very beneficial. We had to increase, number one, we had to increase the federal funding for education, raising the federal education funding, particularly through Title One, which will support schools with high numbers of low income students, could help reduce funding disparities and provide resources to underfunded schools. Again, I want to elaborate on that. Something that I was thinking about last night when I was on that panel, and I was thinking about how in Savannah, excuse me, in Aiken, they rely on the economy on that side. Rely a lot on the Savannah River site, SRS, for those who may know, those who don't. And one thing for sure, $119 billion of education money from the federal government, but you have 800 million here, South Carolina, and we have the Department of Energy, who's running those projects down in the Savannah River site, but also they put a budget towards the schools here in South Carolina. That's USC, Clemson, the HBCUs. And what I have noticed is that the HBCUs are getting funding, some, not all getting funding, and the rest is mostly utilizing STEM programs that students will have to go to schools like USC to be get to a point where they can actually get jobs at SRS, or those programs for internships and things like that. So what I'm saying is, I look at the difference of way how much money is going to one school, depending on what type of school or what school it is, versus the HBCUs. And out of all the HBCUs, you have 24% of that budget going to all of those HBCUs combined. And so you see a lot of ways. Like I said, I appreciate the programs, but you can see the disparities there and things that could be done a lot better, and how funds can be allocated the proper way to make sure the SBCUs have programs that can sustain themselves and be competitive and get in those nuclear sciences and things like that to help students. Also, teachers pay and increase the incentive program. Teachers pay and incentive programs. The federal government could implement or expand programs that provide grants and incentives to states to increase teachers' salaries, offers loans forgiveness for teachers in high needed areas, and create incentives for teachers to work in rural or underserved communities. And this is something that I think can also help with some of the disparities that we see, and also help with the teachers. uh, Again, we have the teachers to pay at, so we want to make sure teachers are being paid, and also being um, um, uh, you know make sure that schools, like the classroom sizes and things like that, are aided, is the word I would like to use, to do their job. Again, they're teaching our new generation, our next generation, those who are going to carry the torch once we're gone. And so we want to make sure our children and our children, their children, are doing well in this country. That, like I said, again, everything, like it or not, for those who may not think this world has ever changed, this is changing. There's no stopping from going into renewable energies and AI and things like that. Technologies, the world is technology is increasing, and so we want to make sure our children are competitive and ready for that. Make sure our teachers are protected. They are receiving the proper pay that they need to do their job. It's a lot of stress, a lot of things that goes on in school that teachers have to be prepared for as well. So want to make sure our teachers are being treated fairly. Support for our teachers' training and professional development. Funding for professional development programs can help improve teachers' quality by providing ongoing training, mentorships, and career advancement opportunities. Federal grants could support training criteria, critical areas such as STEM, special education, and mental health. So, one thing for sure is that we have all types of students in our schools, and want to make sure we're able and ready to educate all our children and have all the systems and things that are in place to make sure that we're doing that job. Also, again, number four, we had a reduction of class sizes. Like I was saying a little about earlier, the federal grants could be provided to help states hire more teachers, reducing class sizes, and improving the students teachers ratio. This will allow for more individualized attention and better learning outcomes. And we know this. It's simple. Simple. Some children need different. Everybody comes from different homes, different backgrounds, and things like that. Neighborhoods. And so we have different dynamics of things that's going on in our lives, and children do too. And want to make sure that our children are getting the proper attention that they need in education. Some learn in different ways, and want to make sure that our teachers are able. Those teachers they go to school for that, to know how teachers are, students are, what needs they have, and the way they learn and things like that. So teachers know those skills. They go to school for that, and want to make sure teachers have all the resources they need to do their job. Increase investment in school infrastructure. Federal funding could support modernization and repairing school buildings, especially in low income and rural areas, to create safe and conducive learning environments. This includes improvements technology, infrastructure, and support digital learning. One thing I can say, and I'm really grateful for, when I was raising my children, I had they became they got made it to high school, and I remember my daughters. I have twin girls, and they I came back from war. I just came back from military. I retired out, and I got back to South Carolina. And the first thing I heard from my daughters, and I haven't even established a place yet when I got here. I was trying to get things, when you move, you PCS. Well, we're moving from out transition out of the military. They move your things for you, but before your things can get there, sometimes you go look for where you want us to live. I made it back here to Columbia, and my daughters went to go see my daughters. And you know what? They told me about the Bill Gates Millennium Scholarship at the time, and I wanted to make sure they were able to, at least apply for it. And it was coming up by the time they told me, I think they had to do it like in a day or two or so. And make a long story short, coming back in town, I didn't have internet, and so we had to sit in a parking lot of McDonald's, or I think it was the hotel at the time, and to utilize the internet so they can go finish that process. And my daughter was the first Black American to receive that scholarship out of South Carolina, and so. And the thing is, what I'm saying is that a lot of students who live in the rural areas don't have high speed internet, and I really thank God for President Biden being able to get that infrastructure stuff done, where we can provide those type things for rural areas that do not have those, didn't in the past have those high speed internets, and for a lower cost and things like that. So really grateful for that, because it's a lifesaver for a lot of parents who, in other words, would not be able to provide those type of tools for their children, to make sure they are doing their best. So again, we have to make sure we're backing those up for our students, and we have to continue to do the right thing towards our students, and we cannot let anyone in these areas of government to try to take those things away from our students. Also, again, I wanted to make sure that we're going to number 7 here. That's support special education, support for special education. Excuse me, I think I skipped the page here for a second. Support for special education, increasing funding for for individual with disabilities, education at IDEA will help ensure that schools can meet the needs of students with disabilities, providing adequate resources, specialized staff, and tailored programs. And that is very, very crucial. Again, every teacher know the things that their students need, and we want to make sure we're providing those things for our students. Again, you look it up. Everybody can look it up. South Carolina is one of the states that are providing the lowest test scores with our students. Very uncompetitive with many states in our country. Though we are the fastest growing state in the country right now, we have people moving in. We want to make sure we are prepared for the new change in our infrastructure, change in our the family dynamics, as well as those who is moving in the state, ready for the change in market and things like that that's coming. Everything is expanding. We have more people moving into South Carolina. So again, going to number 8. I think I went one page too far. Let's see. I think it was number 8 here. Uh, Oh yeah, here we go. Enhance of mental health resources, federal grants and programs could support the hiring of more school counselors, social workers, and psychologists, and fund mental health initiatives aimed at providing students with the support they need to succeed. And also, again, like I said, I'm probably saying things over and over again, but we come from different places. People have different needs when it comes to our mental health, our children have issues too. I remember growing up, sometimes teenagers would think they have problems, we really don't. But we have students that have needs, right, for mental health and things like that. You never know what's going on in their household, where students have to have counselors, talk to their counselor sessions, what's going on. It's also helped the school identify those who may be abused and things like that that's going on in the home. So again, we need to make sure we are providing those services for our students. Again, here we go. Number 9, school safety and violence prevention programs. The federal government could provide funding to support for safety measures such as security infrastructure, training of school staff, and programs that address bullying, substance abuse, and conflicts resolution. And we do not need guns in our school. So I want to make sure I point that out. We do not need guns in school, but we need the education. The education is bliss, to make sure that we're providing those, again, resources to help students make wiser and better decisions, but also that we are prepared in the type of climate that we do have in the country now, to make sure our teachers are prepared as well, and the school is prepared. Early childhood education programs, federal support for expanding access to quality early childhood education, such as through Head Start programs, could prepare more children for school success and address gaps on early on. So again, in this market that we have in our country, we want to make sure that we are providing the best we can for our students. Make sure our students are doing well. Okay, and also we have here support number 11, support career and technical education. Federal funding and policies that promote career and technical education could help prepare students for the workforce by expanding CTE programs and apprenticeships and partnerships with local businesses. And again, that is also crucial to, again, schools that are in our communities that's not receiving those things. And so, like, again, we receive $800 million and so on in the state for education. We need to be allocated in the right places and utilized in the right places to implement a lot of these programs and make sure these programs are really fully funded and doing the things they should do when providing those services for our students. Again, number 12, research and data collection. The federal government could invest in research to identify best practices and innovative educational approaches, using data to inform policy decisions and share success strategies across the state. Number 13, promoting parental involvement and community engagement. And that is very important because federal government programs that encourage and support family engagement in education, such as grants for family outreach initiatives, could foster more robust partnerships between school and community they serve. Again, we want to make sure that also that students, and we all know that schools are not our first teachers. Home is our first teacher. I remember growing up to say you learn your your manners from homes. And sometimes, sad to say, we're starting to see that a lot, especially with technology we have with the social media. Children learn a lot of things, and they're not learning a lot of things from home. They learn a lot of things off that internet. So teachers have to deal with that. They have to deal with that all day at school. They have to deal with those different attitudes and personalities. And it's always good to have the family and have our parents engaged in our children's life by promoting these programs to help parents be engaged with their students. So I agree with those, and those are things. The reason why I put these things here together, just doing some research and looking up equality initiatives, federal civil rights oversight, and initiatives could ensure that all students, regardless of their background, have equal access to high quality education, addressing issues of discrimination and ensuring equitable education opportunities. Again, we will not leave anyone behind. I will not leave anyone behind. Make sure that there's no disparities in anybody's link is weak. We want to make sure everybody's link is strong, and that's every community in our district is strong. We are a strong district. Again, our dynamics changing. And I'm telling you something encouraging for those who would like to see change. The encouraging part is here in Congressional District 2 in South Carolina, the demographics have changed. Some people would say in the street, and I ran into this problem in the primaries. They would say, "Hey, you cannot beat." I'm just gonna say it, you cannot beat Joe Wilson. It's an unwinnable race. You hear all those sentiments. Those sentiments is because of not being able to put those information out there that is on the contrary. The contrary is that, again, South Carolina is a very fast growing state. We have people moving in from all across the country. And the good part is, despite of the fact they're drawing these lines and trying to keep the power and all this kind of stuff, we have a lot of Democrats moving into these new housing developments. And you look around South Carolina, you see so many housing developments all over the place. And our numbers have reached to a number where the second congressional district is competitive. All we have to do is get out there and vote. We have to get out there and vote. So those who are listening to me right now, I say this clearly, and I say this earnestly. I say it in a way humbly, but I say it in a way that is urgent. Look, we all are volunteers. I said this earlier on this podcast that, look, if you want to volunteer, go to davidrobertsforcongress.com and you can fill out the form to volunteer, join our campaign. But you already should be on the campaign. Everybody should be on the campaign. Being on the campaign doesn't mean you have to actually sign a piece of paper and say, hey, I'm going to raise your right hand. I am on your campaign. Campaign is going out to talk to your neighbors, regardless of their political affiliation. Talk to your neighbors, your family, your friends, and let them know why they should be standing up for our Constitution this year, standing up for their own interests. We all have same basic rights because I have a D attached to my name. I'm a Democrat, but we all have our basic rights and our basic needs that we're looking for. We want to make sure my platform is standing up for the middle class. We're standing up for the working class because we know that the middle and working class is the backbone of our country. Without those, we would not have a country. We make sure that we're invested in our middle and working class, raising the minimum wage so we can have a livable wage. Make sure we're invested with entrepreneurship as well as small business because that's a driving force of our communities. And like I said, again, when you're invested at the top looking for a trickle down, it never happens, first of all. The second part is it slows down the economy because most people at the top, those little small percentage of people, do not spend their money quickly. We come down in the middle and working class. We need our money now, and we spend the money a lot faster, and that speeds up the economy. So we want to make sure we're doing the right thing by looking out for our workers. Make sure that we're doing everything. I know I will. I'll be a loud voice in Congress to say, "Hey, wait a minute. Here it is. The minimum wage is still $7.25 federally. We need to change that." And I'll keep preaching it over and over again because it don't make sense for the inflation and the cost of living going up, but the minimum wage stays the same. That just don't add up. That's almost like someone. I would love to go back to a dollar or under a dollar a gallon for gas and things like that. That'd be perfect. But we all see what's going up with the cost of living, gas going up, and then a lot of people's pay going up, but minimum wage staying the same. Why is that? And some people have to live with that minimum wage. I would say that when the way the cost of living went up, the poverty line goes up too. The poverty line shouldn't stay the same. I guarantee the poverty line should be well over $7. That $7.25 minimum wage should be below the poverty line, and no one can live like that. You can't live off $1,000 a month. Imagine that, trying to survive, feed your family, have family, and things like that. So we need to make sure that we're not putting people out in the streets. We have a homeless population out here in this country, for instance, and it's growing in every state. It's starting to hit in every state because of the greeds and things like that that's happening. So we want to make sure that make sure that our worker class is doing well, so our economy do well, and we thrive. Again, I want to stop here because I have so much to talk about, and I will keep going. I was intending to be on for 30 minutes, but I want to see if any comments. I don't see any comments here. But again, for those who are joining in, who's watching on the back end, just know that I'm doing this every week. My goal is to do it every week. If I miss a week, I will let you know. But my goal is every week is because I want to engage with everyone in the community. I want you to know who I am, on here, what you have to say, what you like to see in your representative, what your concerns are, any questions, things like that. So, we can have a conversation. That's what this is all about. So, again, thank you for listening in with me. Thank you for being here with me. And I really appreciate each and every last one of you. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Happy Labor Day to each and every one of you. I hope you get to spend time with your family and your friends. I've been working so hard for this campaign. I didn't realize it was Labor Day. So someone tapped me on the shoulder pretty much and told me. But those who are celebrating Labor Day, just, really, really, and I say this a lot on my son's podcast. If you have a loved one and you have some disagreements, this is a great time to clear up those disagreements. The other part is, if you have a person that you just can't talk to and you love them, tell them you love them. Tell them you love them. And then you can say, hey, can't talk right now, but I love you, but I need to stay away from you right now until we work this thing out. But always make sure you tell the one that you love them. I would give anything to tell my son that I love him. The last time I was able to tell my son that was 2 days prior to him going missing. And, after our 2-hour long conversation we have every time. And, my I love you, son, is to send it to myself, to him. And also to hear his voice is to listen to old voicemails, old videos and things like that, just to not forget what his voice sounds like. So don't wait till you get to a chance, something like that, God forbid. Tell your loved one that every chance you can that you love them. Right. So thank you so much, everybody, for listening in. Again, I hope you have a wonderful evening. I'm David Robinson, Democratic candidate for Congressional District 2 out of South Carolina. I will love your vote. I would love to win your vote. And I'll see you next time. God bless. My name is David Robinson. I'm a proud son of Columbia, South Carolina. I was raised on the Southern values of faith, family, and treating others as you would like to be treated. I believe in the power of a handshake and the strength of one's word. As a single parent, I faced the challenges of making ends meet firsthand. When I heard the call to serve, I knew I had to act.
I served my country where I learned that we are all in this together, regardless of race, color, or politics, whether it was in Afghanistan or Arizona. I saw the power of cooperation. Now, I'm ready to bring that same spirit to Washington. Our nation's future depends on our ability to work together and focus on the bread and butter issues that matter most to everyday Americans, not sowing seeds of division. This November, when you cast your ballots, remember, it's about more than just politics. It's about sending someone who would truly represent all South Carolinians. I am David Robinson, and I approve this message.